Well, welcome back, ladies and germs, to another episode of Steve and Lynda Make a Podcast. Steve and Lynda could not join us this week. They've been wrapped up with chicken business, but they are back in the States, which is exciting. I think we'll see them next week, is the word. For this week, what we wanted to do was just dive into a little update, because guess what? We've missed a week, and we know how much you all loyal listeners have missed all of the important information that we communicate. So here we are, time to catch up. No real questions, just a round robin situation. I think that at least for a few of us, I know it's been a productive and novel week. So let's just go around the horn. Does anyone have any big time updates to share with what's the name of our Steve and Lynda fan base?
Slindians.
Yeah. Loyal Slindians. Tune your ears to
That sounds slimy.
I don't know if it can be Slindians.
Well, again, Dan will just paper over that.
No, I think for this week, that's what it's gonna have to be.
Speaking personally, to dive in, forest floor mushrooms had quite a week. I know that it's been, at least if it hasn't felt this way from the outside, it's felt this way from the inside. Just a couple of weeks of despair and existential sadness.
Oh my gosh.
Is that how it felt on the outside?
No, I didn't get that at all.
You hide it so well.
Oh God, both of you are so bad at lying. This week and last week went really well, and I think this might be, if we try and drag out some themes, this might be a preliminary seedling of a theme that I'll plant right now. Parker and I started doing stuff together, which has felt just, at least for me, so this is going to be like, how much do I flatter Parker, and how much is he just going to be like, I'm so bored with this kid already. But,
flatter him.
Yeah,
Flatter him.
it was really useful just to be, so we've done things in person, masks on the whole time, for those of you out there who are concerned about our
health,
personal safety, and where we stand on that whole problem. Anyway, so we've done so well because I think just being in person with each other, and I think this is something we talked about in the last episode, just being in person for my personality type, and I think like for Parker's personality type, is really, really useful.
Mm-hmm.
And having a number of different things. So like Parker still is working on graphics. I won't say too much about what he's doing. He'll take that. He knows more than I do. But he's still doing that stuff. I'm still doing tutoring. I'm still doing a couple of other writing things myself. But having those things all moving at the same time has been really useful just to keep momentum. So details of what we did this week. We
Spill them.
Yeah. So we have started the the extract labels. We've done a lot of research this week.
That's lovely. That is, for those who recall, there was an ultimatum to make some progress on that for this week.
Yeah, good job, guys.
Wow.
Where did that
Yeah, that's
deadline?
good.
Don't congratulate us. It's been 4 months.
Hey, first step done in public. Love it.
Right. So we've done a lot of research because I think if that is one of the big parts of the business and it's something that we want to legitimize, then it's for sure something that requires just detailed regulatory information. So we've been on the FDA website. We've been just like peeping other people's ads for their extracts to see what kind of protocols they seem to be following. And so we gathered a bunch of information about what's the appropriate verbiage to put on there, as well as just getting like design ideas. And I think that's going pretty swimmingly. We're working on some copy right now, trying to figure out exactly how to word our little spiels on the outside of these labels. But the extracts themselves are going really well. I started a new batch just spurred on by getting together with Parker on Thursday and talking through how we can just like, hold each other accountable to doing these things and really go for it as a team. And then for the fresh mushrooms, we have all but moved the operation to the shed, which is, I think, so doing stuff
HQ2?
Oh, yeah. Except it might be HQ1 because the basement has been such a, this I think, again, if we're drawing out points, doing stuff in your own home for me has been really, really limiting.
Intriguing.
And I know, Dan, you do, you and Ian both do. So I'm interested to see your thoughts on the divide, just the physical divide between a workspace and a home space.
What divide?
Yeah, I mean, that's what it felt like for me, but that does not seem like a good relationship. So what we did was we are setting up the shed as a space to incubate fresh mushrooms. I'm hopefully going to set up a tent in a nearby attic, my parents' attic, which feels like so absurd. But yeah, my parents' attic. We're going to set up a tent in my parents' attic, and that'll be a fruiting station. But moving things out of the home already feels like, okay, I'm getting in the car to go someplace. I'm waking up and like putting pants on, and that feels like the day is starting. I actually have things to do, and I will do them.
Dude, putting pants on, you're doing the pandemic all wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
You could probably don't have to wear pants to the shed. I feel like as long as you can make it to your car and out of the car to the shed in that, a lot of time. There are some kids on the street behind me, so you just have to get a little...
we might want to set up a dress code for the shed and then just make Fridays like casual days.
Or just specifically
it is getting cold.
Hawaiian shirt days. Hawaiian shirt over our coveralls. I think that's important. Yeah.
It's important to get that culture rocking early.
Make sure nobody wants to do business with us before we start.
That's sound business practice, I think. So to wrap up my points, that's like moving out of my home has been really useful. Partnering with someone is someone whom I love and care for is very useful. Just like talking things out, very useful. And then I don't know, and it's just injected a new level of inspiration into the old forest floor endeavor. So we're gonna hopefully start up a new grow this week and reach out to restaurants as so like Parker and I will basically go through a little bit of learning. Like we're gonna walk through what it looks like to actually put the stuff together so the two of us can do it, and then look ahead to reaching out to probably Phoenixville oriented restaurants or Chester County located restaurants and small businesses. So big week. Feels like moves are happening. I woke up this morning and I went, all right,
That's nice.
It is exciting.
Yeah. Parker, anything that you would add to the stuff that we got done this week?
Yeah, so the shed, we pretty much are like splitting the shed in half. I don't know if that was like discussed earlier. And Dan did get a sneak peek for the viewers at home, listeners at home.
Yeah, we'll post that on our Patreon.
Yeah, we can do some before and after stuff. It'll be on the Patreon. Paywall. Just be sure to subscribe specifically for this podcast that you listen to. But
SteveandLynda.com.
Come on, you Slindians.
Is it Steve and Lynda Makeapodcast.com?
It is, yeah.
Steve and Lynda Makeapodcast.com. Steve and Lynda. That's Linda with a Y. Why?
That's how she spells her
that's how she
name.
Fucking spells it, guys.
Because she's a real person and that's her name. That's how she spells.
She's coming back next week, obviously.
Yeah, after the chickens are done laying eggs. The season's almost done, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see them soon.
If you just ended that sentence at after the chickens, period.
That's so dark.
Sorry, Parker. Go ahead. So, yeah, we split up. You really did most of the. Parker's a construction worker. By heart, it seems. He's. Yeah,
that was what came to. So literally, because like I was talking to Brendan about it. It literally, like, I think I started on Saturday, and me and Brendan were talking, I guess, on like Thursday, because I think I'd reached out. That's when like it initially started. I was like, hey, like, I realize I have like I don't know, I have like a lot of hours a week that I would love to like just help out with this stuff. And Brendan was like, yeah, jump on board. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, do you want to do the shed? And he was like, yeah. And so that became Saturday at like 5 p.m. Me and Lily had like a really lazy Saturday because it was like kind of a crappy day weather-wise. So like it was one of those like stay on the couch and not do too much, not be super active. It's almost hibernation season anyway. Yeah.
That's true.
Hibernation.
And so that like then at like 6 o'clock it hit me. I was like, oh, I wanted to get a lot of stuff done on the shed. And this is like 6 p.m. So I ran out to Lowe's and got like, I don't know, like 11 studs or something like that, or 12 studs, like 2x4s. And just threw up like a partition wall in the shed that night. I think I like just started texting Brendan at like, I don't know, like 7:30, and I was like, hey, look. And he was like, yeah. And then like I was like, wait. And then like sent him another picture, and I was like, hey, look. And then the wall was up, and he was like, oh. And I was like, yeah. And like, so I just kind of I think like Lily was like kind of like, hey, it's Saturday, don't you want to hang out? And I was like, no, I have to. I must go. Like, I was like, I'm sorry. But I think that we got a lot done, and we like figured out how we're gonna insulate. I have shout out to Matt Picarella, local contractor, way more legit than I am. He's gonna come out and run power out to the shed on Saturday.
Wow.
So then we'll be able to run like the space heater, keep it between that 40 and 80 degrees. I think just like also like there was a mushroom summit this weekend, like a virtual summit that Brendan had introduced me to. So I definitely like learned more about like mushrooms than I feel like I've ever known. Yeah. Just like, I don't know, at least like the cultivating and stuff like that this week, which has been really exciting for me. But
how did that, do you mind diving into that a little bit? Was it like a growers forum, or did they have speakers, or how did that work?
So there's this guy, Mike. Yeah, go ahead, Parker.
No, after you, go for it.
So there's this guy, Michael Kilpatrick, who sort of like organizes farmer summits, like small farmer summits, depending on what sort of specific crop you're intending to grow. And he's been organizing a mushroom farmer summit. I think this is the second annual one. And it was basically just, it was probably 30 presenters. And effectively it was like, him either interviewing or just asking certain leaders in the industry to post a video or like create some kind of a lesson type thing. And then he coordinated them all into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And it was all, I mean, it ranges from really practical stuff and really small farms to like fairly experimental or fairly research-oriented stuff. And so we watched a couple of them that were really cool. I watched one that was about these cordyceps mushrooms. And it's actually a guy in like the Susquehanna area, I think. He's in Pennsylvania. His name's William Padilla Brown.
Will.
Dan, you're so hip to the whole like cultivation scene. You just know everybody.
Yeah.
Know everyone.
We're on nickname basis.
We're tossing out fake names in a second.
That's cool.
He was talking about like cultivating cordyceps, these mushrooms that we're making an extract of them, and they're the ones that I mentioned that are the one like those ones that parasitize insects and then make them zombies and then grow out of their heads.
It's not as,
but it's good for
people.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, and then like going with that, I think because like me and Brendan had talked about one and a lot, or at least I feel like I talked to him in a lot of detail, and he was like just as on board. But it was kind of like one of those like third eye-opening moments where I think it was like Tim Hensley in Kentucky. He like pretty much just walked you through like he has like in like I guess like the Appalachian area of Kentucky, he has like this like really cool farm set up, and he just like goes through like pretty much his history and like what he's growing there. And I was just like, oh fuck, I want to do that. And so like pretty much like watch that, and I was like, hey Brendan, okay. Like I was like, yeah, like let's do that. And he's like, all right, yeah, fuck yeah. So that was really exciting. It was just a really cool. It's like a bunch of everybody's like super chill, and like the mushroom. No, I feel like nobody really takes themselves too seriously. Like they're all like pretty much like saying it's not rocket science. Like I don't know why more people don't do it, but it's really fun. So like you should do it. Like I don't know.
I think that's a huge thing that the resources that you expose yourself to can really change how you approach these things. And the resources that at least I started out exposing myself to were mostly just like YouTube videos. So I have a couple of books which themselves are really obviously well researched and well organized and thoughtful and all of this stuff. But they're a little intimidating if you're just trying to like fuck around and do something small scale and then build slowly. So watching this summit and in the past watching a bunch of different just YouTube channels, I think has been real demystifying and just like encouraging. Like seeing people, these people don't, they're fairly transparent about it being something you just have to work at. And what'd you say?
Obtainable, just like, yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so I'm glad you had that same takeaway. It was like, it's refreshing to see people just without pretense at all talking about stuff you want to do.
That's super exciting. So definitely looking forward to that. And then going back to the other side of stuff, graphics wise, I guess 2 weeks ago, I walked that area. The Lock 29 logo job is like finished.
Oh cool.
So but he was also like he still wants to do like now he wants to do like 4 murals on each side, like 3 of them being like the restaurant related, and then one he was just like I was just gonna hire like a local mural artist anyway, so if you just want to like come up with something like area based, then go for it. So I think that I'm gonna be able to get in the spring a couple of murals done for that. And then I think the people over at Reach want to start like a simple holder website for their new I think it's for the factory, but I could be mistaken, but their new climbing center, so be starting on that later this week. That's exciting.
Ooh. What is it called?
Reach. They're like a climbing gym over in Bridgeport, Conshohocken area.
Oh, interesting. I don't know that if you had mentioned that before, I forgot.
Oh, they were like my.
Do you still climb?
No, not as much. No. My sister just got back into it, so I feel like once COVID's done, I'll be pulled back into that, but I haven't been. Yeah.
One time, Parker, you like when you were in the heat of your climbing world, I went with you, and you were so enthused, and it was so much fun, and you were so enthused about it, that I got so enthused about it that I ended up buying some used climbing shoes, and they're still in like a box in my closet. They've come through at least 3 moves with me. We should go climbing sometime.
I was gonna say we should go climbing.
Yeah, let's do that.
I got shoes I haven't used in a year.
I don't even think I have shoes. I always rented. Oh no, I have shoes. I totally have shoes. They make my feet hurt so bad.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Some wide toes. So trying to squeeze like a wide box of toes into a freaking pinpoint.
Not great, but yeah.
So when did you get like were you working on corresponding with these people over the past couple of weeks? When did that stuff come up?
Which stuff? Sorry.
The folks at REIT.
Oh, so they're my forever client. The first one that I was talking about. I've been doing like their like social stuff and just doing like graphics all around their place. But Mike just reached out and was like, "Hey, we need to do this," and I was like, he was like, "Do you know anybody?" And I was like, "Me." And he was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, let's do that." Like, yeah, like. So that's good.
How well do we really know ourselves?
Mike, he does do that a lot. My client, like he'll just like ask me, he's like, "Do you know anybody who could do this?" And it's clearly something that falls into like my wheelhouse every time. And I'm like, "Yes, I can." And he's like, "Okay, well, like let's get started then." And I'm like, why don't you just say like we need this done? I don't know. Like he's a funny guy. I've actually never met him. I've only like talked to him on the phone, or I've never met him in person, which is weird because we've been working together for like what feels like a year now. I guess it's only been like 9 months, but strange.
Do you think that's just his way of getting to you? Like he's effectively asking you and he knows that, but he's just not trying to make it as like, hey, do this or something?
It might be. It might just be like a different business practice. Like maybe that's how he like is like, that's like an appropriate way to ask people to do stuff, or like,
yeah, I
don't know. Or maybe it's just like, maybe he's like actually super wary of like bandwidth. I doubt that, but like, not saying that I doubt that he is, but I feel like people in general don't ask freelancers about like, yeah, like if like I could like do it that week. Yeah, right. So, but it's interesting. Yeah.
Interesting. So for the mural stuff, is that something that, like, how do you bill that? Is that something that you will basically just like take an hourly rate, or is that something that you would sum up all together? And would you, if it's like hourly, do you bill for the time that you're designing things?
So I bill like minimal for the design of it, because usually like the install is like pretty, I just do like each mural has like a square footage kind of price. And since this first one that I'm doing, I'm going to be like either up on a ladder or up on the scissor lift, I'm probably going to charge like 1.5, just because it's like dangerous and freezing outside. So I'm like not trying to making it worth
like
is
your life and health worth something or something like that?
Exactly. That's what I was like kind of getting at, but you know, it's not too expensive. You know, I'm still just from Phoenix. I'm Phoenixville trash, but you know, it's like,
oh my gosh,
you gotta cut that out, Parker. That hurt my heart.
But yeah, you know. No,
and
but
how do you, and where do you like establish the rates? Is that something that you developed from like, how did you develop your rate?
Pull them out of your ass.
Dan is 100% right. So I charge like nothing on the PHS ones, because like they're a nonprofit and I couldn't really, they like need to get it done, and like that's like, you know, the right thing to do. But like as you like keep going, you're like, this is like a like now I'm also like, I don't know, 4 murals in, so I feel like, you know, I do this now. Like I can say I do that, not professionally. Well, yeah, professionally. So it's like I think that like also like, I don't know, anything that I charge is going to be not comparable unless like somebody gets like a crazy grant and like can fund themselves. So, like I'm still like on the lower end of cost for what I'm doing. So yeah, that's not too bad. Yeah. But yeah, it's exciting.
So Dan, you've had what we would call an interesting pair of weeks. Can we reveal? Can we pull back the curtain?
I quit my job.
How does it feel?
It feels weird.
Yeah.
It feels weird. It's very cool. This is day 4, and
you don't count the weekends, Dan.
This is day 4, and I have an incredibly annoying, nagging feeling like I need to sign on to my work computer. Meanwhile, I have shipped that back. There is no signing on. That's not an option that I have, but I feel like I gotta get back on there, like I'm playing hooky or something. So I'm really hoping that goes away in a couple days.
Took me like 2 weeks.
Weeks, you said?
Yeah, it lingers.
I think this really is what great. They say. There's definitely a ratio of how long you were in that relationship to how long it takes to get over the breakup.
I should have consulted you, Ian, on like all the weird emotional roller coasters I was about to ride, but here we are.
Wait. So that is such an interesting point, because that is stuff you would not know unless you're in it. can we please dig into the details of some of those things? You've got your computer, you have a phantom computer that you keep wanting to go to.
Yeah, when you feel like if you forget your smartphone, that phantom smartphone feeling, like, oh, what notifications I get, or like you keep reaching down to your pocket and it's not there. It's like that.
Now, is there any sense of relief when you realize, like, oh no, freedom?
No, it's a pretty, I mean, it's low level, but it's nagging in the background pretty constantly. Like, oh, I should be getting on, or like, what am I missing type thing. One huge like benefit is that notifications from a work email and a work Slack and a work Google Calendar are no longer coming in. And it's amazing. Like, I knew that would have accounted for a lot of notifications, but I didn't realize how many. So that's awesome.
What do you call it? The boom boom sweep?
Yeah, brush sweep, or whatever the classic Slack sound is called.
And let's just so that we have, in case anyone's fallen asleep by now, let's wake them up. Dan, editor Dan, do you mind just squeezing in a quick sound effect?
Yeah, I'll squeeze that in. That's so people can know what it sounds like.
Their blood pressure immediately shoots through the roof.
That'll be where I put it in. So that's been awesome. I'm super excited to get my sleep schedule back to like a going to bed pretty early, waking up pretty early situation that I was on for a long time. Pre-pandemic, when I was playing hockey, kind of like a go to bed at 9, 10, wake up at 5. I really got away from that during the pandemic, and while working with part of our team in San Francisco, it's just really difficult to maintain that. So this week is trying to wean back slowly into my old habits, get to something closer that resembles Ian's early bird schedule. I just feel super, I got all the items that I was keeping like ragtag on my whiteboard digitized into Trello, which is like a little backlog tool where you can organize all sorts of stuff. So I don't know, the general feeling is just overwhelming excitement and ambition to like do all of those tasks all at once, which obviously I need to curb that a little bit so that I can focus. But for the moment, that's not an issue. It just feels good to be that excited and ready to hit the ground on some of this stuff full time. So that was my last 2 weeks.
Just to be clear, you have already started your independent life, right? You've got things like you're doing things every day.
Oh yeah. So yeah, all the stuff that I was doing in my spare time before, all of those commitments have slowly ramped up. So I probably have between like 20 and 30 maybe plus hours a week that are kind of already spoken for, depending on
that's awesome.
what projects are in process. So like that quickly jumped from like probably what was 10 hours a week, maybe max, to what will look like 20 to 30. So I think for me, the main focus of December and maybe early next year is kind of get a handle on what that feels like week in and week out to see what my actual bandwidth is. And yeah, I mean, especially given the holiday period, try to really ramp up some of my individual efforts on the YouTube channel and stuff. I was really busy in that transition and kind of fell down on some of those personal projects that I wanted to push out. I definitely want to make a video just kind of explaining that transition. Not that anyone really cares, but it gives us a chance to plug this podcast on the end screen.
Can't say that, Dan. Because if nobody cares about that, then nobody cares about this.
Then nobody cares about us.
Yeah, that's true. Our entire existence just through this podcast.
Yeah, we'll throw this minuscule podcast in front of 100 people, and we'll see if we can get up to
4 followers.
We can snag 2 more listeners. Yeah, I don't know. Just excited, very thankful, ready to go, happy to join the dark side.
Yeah.
Now, are you gonna
happy to
take any time to just I don't know, like lay on the couch and be a potato, or are you
Hell no.
Yeah, talk
That's
about
fair.
that for a second.
Well, one, I don't own a couch.
Don't give
Two,
yourself the option.
yeah, I don't even have the option.
He's just laying on the floor.
Staring
Yeah,
at
I
the
mean,
wall.
part of it is definitely, I think I did a good job of jumping into something that I really enjoy spending my time doing, and so far, day 4, that's held up. So, this is stuff that I want to work on. Kind of, it's not something that I feel like I want to take a break from, and also there's no PTO anymore. This is just time off, not paid time off. So I think that's top of mind as I'm kind of, technically have a runway here. So that's I can't be lazing around too much.
Yeah.
And I don't feel the need to yet. I feel pretty refreshed in terms of, leaving one thing and starting another. I don't feel like I took a lot of break between the role that I had before the one I just left and that one. That was great and needed, well past due by the time I took that, but I don't feel like I need that right now, which is also cool.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. Happy
Now,
for you,
Ian. You've been pasting lots of very intense graphs in our chat.
Geometry.
And I'm seeing red and I'm seeing green.
Yeah, more
and you're
red than
tracking
green.
things and whatnot. Do you care to explain any of that?
No, not really.
All right, well, for Steve and Lynda, this is it.
Because
see you next week.
It would seem as though you're getting ready to turn that puppy on.
So, not quite. I was feeling pretty good about some stuff, and then as I was kind of like digging into it a bit more, I realized like some of the assumptions I was making were a little bit optimistic. So I'm going back
assumptions
to
about what specifically?
Well, so like all those like hypothetical trades on those graphs, I'm not like actually placing those with like brokers or anything. That's just me back testing with this dinky little like simulator thing I wrote. And so
you wrote the infrastructure to do the back testing.
Infrastructure's a little bit generous.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, it's just some like Python
mechanism
scripts
the
and
magic
stuff.
spells.
Yeah, magic incantations. But so yeah, when I wrote it, I was being a little bit optimistic about like what price my order would get filled at, and then like when I wanted to exit a position, like what price it would get filled at and stuff. So I turned some of those dials to be a little bit more like worst case scenario.
Ooh.
And with those assumptions, like my strategy's not making money anymore, so now I'm trying to kind of like harden it a bit. And realistically, I think the assumptions I'm using are probably like maybe too pessimistic, but I'd rather like go in with something that I think like has a reasonably good chance, rather than like putting money into something that I'm just kind of like, wow, it seems like it kind of works okay, let's give it a try.
Right.
So it's been I kind of like did all the stuff that was in my wheelhouse first, so like building out the integrations and like automating all the stuff that I could, and now I've kind of gotten to the point where it's like, how do you trade stocks and currencies? And like I'm just a total novice, so like I keep like thinking I've got a little like nugget of something that might be promising, and then like no, you're just an idiot, you don't know anything yet. So I don't know, it's cool. It's been a while since I've been like just completely like new at something, and so like it's uncomfortable for sure, but in a kind of like weird masochistic way, it's kind of fun to like, I don't know, have that challenge.
Explore.
Yeah.
So is it what has your last 2 weeks looked like? Is it a lot of just working with that mechanism that you have in place, testing, retesting, like is it you waking up and testing for 8 hours a day just trying to run these simulations?
Yeah, so it's like I'll implement or tweak a strategy, and then I'll run it against like a few years of data with a few different like currency pairs to see how it performs like on average. And then when the red numbers come up, then I go back to the drawing board and tweak or start working on a new strategy.
When the big bad red ones come up.
Yeah, we don't like the red ones. We're hunting for the green ones, but they're elusive. But yeah, so like it's cool because I think like when you try to do this, like I'll say quote unquote by hand, like I don't think you have the same access to like try your strategy to that extent. Like you can paper trade, so just like simulated trading with a brokerage or whatever, but you're kind of limited to like, you know, how fast you can click buttons and stuff. And so that's where I'm really appreciative of having this like software experience, because like, I mean, I'm like every time I run this thing, I'm simulating like, you know, thousands and thousands and thousands of trade decisions in just like a couple seconds. And so I get like a pretty solid idea of like, I'm doing something right, or more likely I'm not, which is, it's cool. It's cool to have that like quick feedback.
If I didn't know any better, Ian, I would say you just maybe flexed there.
I didn't mean to.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I just meant
still, it's an Ian flex. So like for those of you listening, if you missed it, let's just do a quick playback. see if you can pick it out.
I don't know. I just meant like I'm grateful to have that experience, because like I can see how it would be a lot more frustrating. And like it's frustrating, but I can see how it would be a lot more so if I was like having these like failures, you know, kind of like trickling in like every
way slower.
Yeah, a couple hours, because like I know I'm doing something wrong, but what? Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, I guess to summarize, it's been kind of like a frustrating week, but also like I know that's part of the process, and so I'm kind of I don't know, enjoying it's not the right word, but like this is what I signed up for, and in a weird way I'm kind of appreciating it.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Ian, tell me, I know we talked about this a bit, but just to deconstruct what you're doing a little bit, what are some of the shapes that you're trying to mimic? Because I know there are just like there are just names for those things.
Yeah, so there's like, there's like common patterns,
like the double drop or whatever.
Yeah, and that's actually, so that's what I'm focusing on right now is like reversals. So like the double bottom is one of the big patterns. There are a bunch of others.
Little W, right? Basically looks like a small W at the bottom of a right? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, and it can be, so like there can, between the 2 points of the W on the bottom, there can be like other points in between. But generally it's like you've got a low, and like it's an extrema, and then you have another one that's a little bit higher. And so the idea is like price is kind of pushing down, and then it hits kind of a floor, like a resistance zone, and then it kind of hops back up, and then it comes back down, but it doesn't come back down quite as far. So that's supposed to indicate like the potential that the price is kind of reversing course. And then there's a bunch of other things that you factor into the decision. And
those like the foundations for those things, right? What you're finding these things partly in textbooks, partly just by reading on the internet, right?
Yeah. So that I took a couple of those like self-learning courses, plug Udemy, I guess, for free. A couple of courses on there, a couple on YouTube, but the YouTube stuff has been pretty like high level and not super useful.
If I ever hear you insult YouTube again.
Oh no, I think
I'm kidding.
You insulted it for being too highbrow. It's too esoteric for him.
And then what else? Investopedia, big shout out to Investopedia.
Ooh, nice.
Because they have a lot of really good information for free.
Yeah. I think that's run by the Investopedias. It's a small wealthy family of Investopedias.
Oh, that's where the term investment comes from.
Yeah, Erica Investopedia is like the matriarch. John Investopedia.
John's cool. He does. I was gonna go with it. But yeah, honestly, just anything I can get my hands on, and then I'll, take a piece of information, try it out, kind of like see how it performs, and then if it does good, I'll.
I've got just two other questions. So first question is like, what other shapes have you focused in on? It's the double bottom, double top.
There's one called Head and Shoulders. There's also different. So these are like patterns that multiple candles form, but there's also like particular shapes that the individual candles can take.
And those candles are like ranges. They're like in these graphics, basically ranges of the price points. Do we lose him?
Oh no.
Yeah.
He's probably still there talking. So Ian, if you're still there, I'll just keep asking questions because I'm recording and maybe you're still recording on your end. We just lost you.
While we get him back, can we discuss how I think Head and Shoulders is a shampoo and we missed a great opportunity for a sponsorship?
We could have gotten them.
God. Oh, man.
Is there a Head and Shoulders jingle that you could just squeeze right in after he said, oh, he's talking.
Oh, he's back.
Wait, what's up? Did I cut out?
Yeah. Are you still recording though?
Yeah, I am.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Good. Okay. Yeah, piece of cake. So hopefully all you said was perfectly articulate and we just interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, not at all. But anyway, all that to say that like the shapes and stuff. Yeah, that's just like part of it, and then you have to kind of like corroborate what those might be saying with some other things that are also like kind of like aggregate measures of price over time.
And one thing that I think is interesting that you mentioned last time we were talking about these sort of nuts and bolts is that all of these shapes, you can sort of just say, okay, we're observing them in these graphics of how the market is changing and what people are paying and taking for whatever share. But beyond or deeper than them just being observable, they're sort of like articulatable as human responses. Like there's a level of just human behavioral understanding that can explain the shapes that exist.
Yeah, and so like what the line that traces along the graph, that's you've got people on either side kind of pushing against each other. And so like when it goes up, the people that are selling are kind of like dominating that interaction, and when it goes down, wait, did I say so? People that are buying are dominating that interaction, and when it goes down, it's kind of the opposite. So, and then it's like you can get way deep into kind of like the specifics of it, and you can kind of like I don't know. Some of the people I watch are they'll like something will happen and they'll be like, oh, there's a hidden buyer, and that's like someone who has a sell position, or a hidden seller, sorry, and that's someone who has like a sell position that's not like publicly advertised. So like the price will go up, and then there's this hidden seller that sells off a bunch of shares and pushes the price back down, and it's like you can't see it coming, but you get burned occasionally. Because there's like, you can't really, there's no way of predicting it, but then like kind of the all the momentum will go out of the uptrend, and it's like there's all this like very nuanced stuff with like what you can and can't do in the markets, and then like how people take advantage of that. It's, I don't know, it's super interesting, but I don't know, I guess that's why the graphs are so jagged is yeah, I don't know, that's not like a clean like phenomenon. It's kind of chaotic, and you know, there's countless participants doing all kinds of crazy stuff, so
yeah. So in one of my other hustles is that I tutor test prep as well as a number of different academic subjects, and worked for a summer program for a number of years, and the one year they had an economics teacher who last minute had some family issues that she had to resolve, so she had to had to duck out at the last second. And so this guy, Mikey Boyle, what's up, Mikey? He reached out to me. He's the program direct coordinator at the time, and reached out to me and said, "Hey, could you teach economics?" And I was like, no.
I remember when you had like 4 days.
yeah. And so so normally my experience in teaching at that point in time and private tutoring was in SAT and ACT prep, and so math is certainly favors or figures heavily in that content, but I had no experience with either academics or personal finance was this other class I had to teach. And so for like 6 days, hopped on Khan Academy, boom. They've got a delightful little setup for microeconomics that I watched back to back to back on 1.75 speed, which was exciting. These things spicy. And then went in, and it was luckily just each cohort of students, it was like a 9-week program, but each cohort of students would only be there for a week or 2 weeks tops. And the ones who were signed up for economics for 2 weeks, which is like, whose fucking parents sent these kids to a summer camp to take an economics class at summer camp? Anyways, a lot of them did. But they've, after 2 weeks, any of those kids who were there for 2 weeks realized that, oh, okay, so Brendan's just going to do the same things that he did last week. I don't know, I have 5 days worth of content. I've only been doing this stuff for,
5 days.
A couple minutes.
What kind of stuff are you teaching?
So just the basics of microeconomics. So like supply and demand curves, things like surpluses, things like, oh shit. What's it called?
The kids know so much, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, fine. Yeah, you just ask them the question like, yeah, it's called this. I'm like, okay, well thanks. Yes. But basically what it was kind of cool actually. So I added in Freakonomics Radio, which is just incredibly illustrative and useful. Played that one day, talked about Uber as like this data box that you can use to basically visualize in real life what a supply and demand curve could look like, because they have these changing price scales based on demand, which is really interesting. I have no idea if any kids got anything from it because I turned the lights off and they maybe all just put their heads down. But if you're a teacher, and
you're a good
those
teacher.
of you out there listening, you know exactly what that's about. And then we also played Settlers of Catan to talk about a couple of different economic concepts.
Oh, nice.
Opportunity costs and competition and
war,
resources and murder. is an interesting economic concept.
Trading wheat for brick and brick for
which
wood.
happens in daily economy. That's most of it. It's just trading sheeps. But the reason I say that is because so much of it, I had no idea about this before diving in, but so much of it is mathematics and algorithms and shapes and trying to articulate things, in those different ways, but obviously has a foundation in humanities and like just understanding how humans behave and react to certain things, because generally it's just a bunch of different people acting the way that people act, and then we can try and understand that with graphs and images and concepts. Boom, drop the mic.
Boom. I'm gonna be the bad guy here, guys.
Yeah,
we're done. We're out of time.
All right.
It's noon.
We're keeping tight hours, so let's 30 seconds from everybody real quick. What are you doing next week? Brendan, go.
Oh shit, fuck, shit. Oh, Jesus. How many seconds do I have left?
20 seconds left.
Oh no, okay.
He's doing great.
We're gonna start. I got Spawn. I'm gonna order today. We're gonna start a run. If it gets here by Thursday, we'll
10
start
seconds.
then. Oh Jesus! And then basically, I'll be Parker's mushroom tutor for a week, and then we'll try and get a number of grows going. And then probably next week we can post some ads for the extracts as well.
Wow,
That's awesome, guys.
that's a lot.
Woo.
Ian.
You
Popcorn
can
Ian.
have my 30 seconds, Brendan. I think you kind of got cut short there.
No,
I'm
you gotta
just-
sit there and shit, God, oh no.
I'm just banging my head against the keyboard, guys. It's more.
Nice.
More of
Slapping
that.
those keys.
Yeah. I'll get into details next time.
Nice. Popcorn Dan.
Popcorn me. So I'm gonna try and focus on scheduling some content for both myself and clients a little bit farther ahead than what I was able to do part-time. So that'll be cool. Give myself a little bit more prep and breathing room. And I think that'll be the big focus for the week, honestly.
Get them signing their lives away.
Yeah. Popcorn, Parker.
30 seconds. Insulate shed, that's going up. The plywood over insulation.
Yes.
Gonna pop out a place for a socket. That's power. Shed good. And website for Reach. Gonna work on that. Figure out a timeline and a scope of work. And then I'm supposed to meet. And then I'm gonna finish. I didn't even talk about that. I'm finishing up the last mural at PHS this week. Bye. Okay.
Bye.
All right,
Well done.
ladies and
Brendan,
gentlemen.
take us home.
Okay, so for Steve and Lynda, we also need an outro. Dan, I think that it is your week because you
No,
pawned it
I
off
can't
on Ian
do it.
last week.
I
So-
can't do it.
Ladies and germs, for Steve and Lynda, I'm Brendan.
I'm Dan.
I'm Ian.
I'm Parker.
Steve and Lynda will be back next week. We hope you join us. Tune in. Dan, what kind of musical stylings do you have for us on our way out?
God. I can't do it live. I'm too scared.
Just the moaning.
We can also go with a very much needed 7 seconds of just pure, unadulterated silence.
You want me to leave 7 seconds on the end here?
Can you put crickets in it? Just
Yeah, just like sounds of nature. That would be good.
All right, ready, go.
well, yeah, or you could just add 7 seconds to the end.
That was a real organic 7 seconds. All right, we stopping?
We're stopping.
All right.